You may wish to invite distinguished Senator Yusuf, member of the committee, to move the motion for the Senate to receive the report.
Senator Yusuf.
Thank you, Excellency, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues. I wish to move the motion that the Senate do receive the report on the Committee on Trade and Investment on the Consumer Protection Act Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2017 SB 257. I so move.
Senator Clifford Odia.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my name is Senator Clifford Odia, representing Edo Central Senatorial District. I rise to second the motion that the Senate do receive the report of the Committee on Trade and Investment on the Consumer Protection Act Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2017 SB 257. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that the Senate do receive the report of the Committee on Trade and Investment on the Consumer Protection Act Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2017 SB 257. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senator Yusuf, come and lay the report, please. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, the first order of the day is a motion requesting the Senate to consider the request of Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief, for the confirmation of the nomination of the following for appointment as resident electoral commissioners for the Independent National Electoral Commission in accordance with Section 14(2)(a), B, C of the third schedule to the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as altered. Number 1, Professor Goswill Obioma Abia, new appointment. Ibrahim Abdullahi Yemenai, Adamawa, new appointment. Alhaji Ahmad Makama Bauchi, reappointment. James Yolam Apam Binwe, new appointment. Barrister Mike A. Igini, Delta, reappointment. Dr. Nwachuku Oji, Ebonyi, new appointment. Dr. Ilo Joseph Valentine Chuks, Inugu, new appointment. Husseini Halilu Pai, FCT, reappointment. Sadiq Abubakar Musa, Kaduna, reappointment. Jibrin Ibrahim Zarewa, Kano, reappointment. Dr. Mrs. Asama Usani Maikudi, Katsina, new appointment. Dr. Mahmuda Isa, Kebi, new appointment. Professor Samuel G. Egu, Kogi. Professor Samuel G. Egu, Kogi, new appointment. Ambassador Dr. Rufus O. Akeju, Lagos, reappointment. Professor Mustafa Zubairu, Niger, new appointment. Agboke Mutiu Ola Leke, Ogun, new appointment. Sam Olugba Debo, Olumeleku MNI, Ondo, reappointment. Abdul Ghani Olayinka Raji, Oyo, new appointment. Professor Riskua A. Shehu, Sokoto, new appointment. Barrister Kasim Gana Gaidam, Yobe, reappointment. Ahmad Bello Mahmoud, Zamfara, new appointment. Dr. Nentanwe Goshwe, Yilwado, Plateau, new appointment. Umar Ibrahim, Taraba, new appointment. Mr. Emeka Onono Madu, Joseph, Imo, new appointment. Obo O. Effiong, Cross River, new appointment. Professor Francis Chukwuemeka Izienu, Anambra, new appointment. And Dr. Briyai O. Franklin Bayelsa, new appointment. Mr. President and distinguished senators, the purpose of this motion on the order paper is for the request of Mr. President to be referred to the relevant committee for further legislative action. I therefore move that the request of Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief, be referred to the Committee on INEC for further legislative action. I so move.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that the Senate do consider the request of Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief on the confirmation of the nomination of the following persons for appointment as resident electoral commissioners.
Any person is usually statutory, and this is one of them, where the power to confirm the appointment made by the Mr. President is a statutory function. Mr. President, in discharging this statutory function, I believe, and I sincerely believe, that the drafters or the makers of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria understand the principle of separation of power. That is, the power of the executive to appoint and the power of the legislature where necessary to confirm. And it is in the exercise of that function, believing in that function, that Mr. President has brought this name to us for confirmation. Mr. President, taking a leave from America, where we are all starting this presidential election, this presidential system of government, recently the National Security Advisor was sent to the Senate of America. And because of his link with Russia, he was disqualified. What am I saying? Issues like this have to transcend the issue of political parties or where you are believed, but for the interest of Nigerians. And also protect our Constitution and protect our democracy. Mr. President, recently in this Senate, we dealt with the issue of confirmation. And where are we today? The chairman of the Presidential Committee on Anti-Corruption, Professor Isse Sagi, went to the press and said that the Senate merely confirms. Merely is the word. This is unexpected of somebody who has lectured constitutional law in the university, a professor of law, a senior advocate of Nigeria, and of course, a chairman of such a big body to say that the legislature merely confirms. That is, the legislature has no power. And here are we again today. We have now been given a list to confirm. So we merely confirms. Mr. President, look at the list here. We have 8 persons here. Out of the 27, 8 of them are presently, they just set here for reappointment, which means they are acting already. They are acting, they are already working. So they are still in position. And where are we today? Professor Seke will cite against Section 171, subsection D of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Even if we don't confirm there, he will say continue to act. Continue to act there. Because you can imagine the type of advice that this type of person are giving to Mr. President. They are telling Mr. President to disregard and disrespect the institution, the legislature. Mr. President, let us not set a precedent. We cannot destroy our democracy because certain persons, certain individuals feel that it's only their belief of what they want is what will happen in this country. This country does not belong to them. This country belongs to the Nigerian people. The Nigerian people have elected us. They have given us the power to look into those sent to us for confirmation, to look into their credentials, to look into whether they are qualified to hold this position. But where you denigrate is such an institution that has the power to confirm and use the word merely. We could have ignored it. But for somebody of that stature, for a presidential advisor, for a chairman of a committee, for somebody of that stature, a senior advocate of Nigeria to make such this thing, to denigrate, to disrespect, to say all that type of thing about this institution, if tomorrow we fail again in the process of confirmation and refuse, where are we to? So Mr. President, my position on this matter is that since our confirmation is merely, let us suspend it until we now know whether we have the power as given to us by the Constitution to look into confirmation matter or any other status. I want to respectfully say that we should suspend it. This is my position, Mr. President.
Senator Matthew Rugiji.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I am Senator Matthew Rogide. I represent Edo South Central District from Edo State in the Senate. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I stand up to support the position that has been thrown up by Senator Peter Nwaboshi. Mr. President, in addition to what he just said, which is the constitutional requirement that this Senate has to confirm nominations or appointments that are made by the executive arm of government, as symbolized by Mr. President himself. I want to say that in addition, the acts, the laws establishing these agencies of government have specified very clearly that these officers of these agencies whose appointments will be made by Mr. President have to be confirmed by the Senate. Therefore, if an agency that, of course, whose employees or headship, the names have been submitted to us by Mr. President for confirmation, as it is specified in the Constitution, so it is specified in their own acts, in their own laws establishing them. Therefore, we are performing a statutory role. If perchance Mr. President sends a name or sends names here to the Senate for confirmation and they are not confirmed, what happens is that the President is at liberty to submit other names. But it must be that the Senate too must be properly informed of what has happened by a confirmation, either the one that has been upheld or the one that has been turned down by the Senate. We deserve a right to know. We cannot keep confirming names or turning down names of nominees of Mr. President only for them to be put in basket about our decision, particularly the one that happened recently. We don't know what has happened. These persons cannot keep acting even when we have turned them down, because as it is now they are acting, their names have been sent in for confirmation. We don't know what has happened in the case of EFCC, specifically speaking. He is still acting to today. If the President knew that he was not going to honor our refusal or our rejection of his nominee, they should have sent him in the first place, which would have meant an outright violation of the law establishing EFCC, and then of course the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended. Mr. President, I want to plead that these names, because we have 8 out of the 27 that are being reappointed, whether they are in office now or they are acting, we do not know. If we go ahead to confirm these ones, or we go ahead to reject some of them, are we sure that what we are going to do about rejection will be honored by the executive? I want to ask that, along line what was suggested by Senator Peter Nwaboshi, that we stand down this request, but we step it down, so that let us know what has happened, so that let them know that if you have to send a list here, this Senate is serious enough to do, justice to whatever request that is made, either expeditiously or otherwise, as they have, decided to do ab initio. So, Mr. President, please, I want to lend my voice to it on support that this list be stood down until we know what has happened to our earlier, reports or suggestions that was made to Mr. President. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. My name is Muhammad Adamu Aliru. Mr. President, I rise to oppose what my 2 colleagues have just said now, for the reason that there is already an impression created, particularly in the media, that the INEC is not ready for the conduct of 2019 election. And 2019 election is very, very crucial to us. And the preparation for the conduct of 2019 election is the submission of resident electoral commissioners to the Senate for screening and approval. Without that, INEC will never be ready for the 2019 2019 election. So even though what they said is true, I want us to exceptionally consider the screening of this list, and if there is any observation on any nominee, it should be done at the screening stage. And I want to respectfully say that some of the nominees that are said to be on reappointment, they have already left the office. They have served their term for 4 years. Yes, because I know one of them that served in KB, President Electoral Commissioner, and immediately he finished his 4 years, he handed over to the administrative officer. So, Mr. President, I want to plead with my colleagues to exceptionally consider the screening of the nominees by the relevant committee. I shall submit, Mr. President.
Senator Samayan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleagues, my name is Senator Samayan. I represent Imo East in Imo State. Mr. President, I want to join my colleagues who have raised this issue. But I want to say, and I want to quote Obama, that we must try as much as possible to promote and protect institutions and not individuals. This Senate, you are today a Senate President. In the next 7 years, another person will be a Senate President. And it will continue like that. And if we ridicule this Senate, we have ridiculed an institution. And mind you, Mr. President, that in every democratic setting, legislature is the first arm of government and must be respected. Because without the legislature, there's no democracy. And this is the hope of the common man. So I think that we must respect this institution. Nobody is above the law. I think that if we have today said that somebody is not qualified to be a chairman of a commission or an agency, is that person proper fit to be acting? The answer is no. And for us to show that this is an institution, Mr. President, we must stand down, no matter whatever. When the mover of this motion was making submission, he said he has nothing against any of the nominees, but for the fact that let us find out the one we have done, what is wrong with it. So I so submit that we stand this down, Mr. President. Thank you.
Senator Francis.
Mr. President, distinguished colleague, my name is Senator Francis Alimikena, representing the good people of Edo North. Mr. President, I beg to differ from the suggestion of my colleague, Senator Alero. It is better to do something, do it well. What he failed to understand is this: all these nominees, reappointed, new appointment, what of if we refuse one? What will happen? That is the question that the people here, the distinguished senators, are asking the executive. There is no need to disapprove one and you go back to say you can continue to act. There is a question we are asking. Now the EFCC chairman that we disqualified in this hall, is he acting? And all the progress that are going in the paper today is behind it. So if we disqualify a candidate and that person continue to act, why are they sending this thing to us to act? It is better. Without these people, election can still go on. Let us if you say no, what if you disqualify one and people like Sage said you could mere disqualification to continue, then we are rubbishing us. Let us not act on this net until we hear from the president what happened to Magu. Magu is terrorizing us because we disqualify him, and let us say we cannot hide it. If we disqualify Magu and he's terrorizing our people because we disqualify him and he's still acting, and they are bringing new confirmation for us to confirm, what are we doing? If they know they can do it alone, let them do it alone. Mr. President, these names should not be we should still do the next exam. We should not qualify them. We not confirm them, so that they will know it's a pointer. I rest my.
Deputy Leader, then DSP, then let's, Deputy Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues. This is a defining moment in our journey to nationhood. Having had the privilege of being a leader in this Senate, I have always prided myself with the fact that this Senate is imbued with men of intelligence, courage and character, with determination to play a fundamental role in our journey towards nationhood. I have always said that it consists of former governors, former ministers, former captains of industries. What that means is that at each point that we are being called upon to decide on an issue that affects this nation, we must show that we have superiority of thinking and we have more commitment than those anti-democratic forces that survive outside the chambers of the National Assembly. And I think this is one situation where that call is relevant and important. I share the sentiment of my colleagues on this issue. I am in great difficulty to disagree with more convincing reasons as to why I think the Senate will tread cautiously on the request by my colleagues for us to stand down. I think that this matter is going to be referred to the committee. We still have enough time. No. Can I, in conclusion, say that I am pleading with my colleagues. I respectfully sit down.
Senator Booker.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. My name remains Senator Booker Ibrahim, representing all the people of Yobe East Senatorial District. So I rise to oppose the conclusion of this exercise, but for a different reason from some of my colleagues. I do agree what has happened in the case of Magu needs to be concluded, but that need not interfere with everything else we do with other people. The worst we can do in the case of Magu is if the presidency insists on going on and on, the worst that we can do is to go to courts and let the courts rule. That should not affect all other people.
Yeah, that should not affect our constitution.
But my opposition to the approval of this list is, Mr. Chairman, Mr. President, the fact that not a single CV of any of these people may be attached. We don't know from Adam. We don't know anybody here. They are just, where are they? Have you seen?
CVs were sent, yes, CVs were sent. CVs were sent. They were sent. They will be distributed. You know, it has to go to the committee. Distinguished colleagues, thank you. Distinguished colleagues, the sentiments raised by Senator Peter Wabush, I don't think that, and the points that he made, I don't think anybody here, even Senator Leroda Rose, is disputing that fact. And I think they're very, very serious issues that talks about what is our role here, what is the purpose of us giving responsibilities by the law, by the Constitution, to play our role. And the question you asked, that what is the assurance that even after this exercise, how would the executive treat that? And this matter, as you rightly say, needs to be resolved to give confidence to the institution, to our democracy, and be able to guide us going forward. and you appeal to me, I can see that if I put the question, I can see where it's going. So I want to make an amendment. The amendment is that there is no doubt that the sentiments is that we should stand down this matter. But I believe that if you be like the guide, if we can stand it for maybe a week, so if we can stand it down, if we can, distinguished colleagues, if I see the sentiments, but just let me let DSP speak. Maybe.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. I would like to thank His Excellency for guiding us properly. Let me, but first of all, before I do that, in response to the sentiment expressed by my friend Senator Liero, these resident electoral commissioners just appointed, I'm aware that some of them, those positions have been vacant for over a year, including one from my state. About this time last year, I raised this issue that about 20-something states are without resident electoral commissioners. So if there is any delay, certainly it's not from this Senate. So that point needs to be made clear, that the government themselves knew that these positions were vacant and nothing was done about it. So if we have to delay, I don't think any person will blame us because that's the reason started. But because we are very responsible citizens, we are also mindful of the fact that there's need to put things in place ahead of the elections. I just want to plead with our colleagues that we have a time frame to stand it down to enable the President of the Senate to pass our sentiments over to the executive so that they will know how we feel about the issue of acting appointments. But let me say this, sir. Under our constitution, the points are clear, areas where you can have acting appointments. If the President is traveling, the Constitution enjoins that he writes to the National Assembly. And then if he writes to the National Assembly, the Vice President starts to act. We're also aware that under the Constitution, if the Chief Justice of the Federation is unable to perform his duties, the President can appoint the next in rank to be the acting CJ. Same thing in the states. But outside that, there's no provision in our law where positions that require the confirmation of the Senate enjoins the executive to put somebody in that capacity are starting to be corrected. So it is never envisaged. That's what they call the doctrine of shared responsibility. That is what informed the essence of saying that certain appointments requires the input or confirmation of the legislative body. So those who drafted this constitution, they are not stupid. We didn't draft it ourselves. So we are here to protect the law, which we all swore to. When we took office here, we said we are going to defend our constitution and defend the laws of this country. And we must be seen to be doing that. But in doing this, I just want to appeal that we apply some moderation to allow Mr. President to convey our feelings to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on this issue of appointment. So I just want to appeal that we leave it for 1 week or at most by 2 weeks.
Distinguished colleagues, I would, as light as started, that we can, today is Tuesday, and this matter can be set down to Tuesday next week, and we can take it at that time. Hopefully, in the interest of this democracy that we're all fighting for, an institution, the right things will be done. If you then I can, somebody should second the motion raised by DSP to one way, and then we'll put the question. No, not Senate. And I'm appealing to distinguished, please. I'm appealing. Senator Boucher.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues.
Yeah, but just a point of order, Deputy Leader.
With the greatest respect, Mr. President and my distinguished colleague, may I at this stage apply that we suspend the relevant provisions of our rule to extend our sitting beyond 2 o'clock for the purpose of determining this very important matter. I so move.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that...
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that we extend our sitting beyond 2 o'clock, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the amendment proposed by the Deputy Senate President on the matter of the screening of electoral commissioners. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, so the motion on the floor is that this matter should be stood down for a week and presented at that time. Senator Peter, do you want to amend as agreed?
Well, the majority. Senator Peter Nwoboshi, representing the good people of Anioma of the state, Delta North. Mr. President, I've listened to your sentiments and the sentiments of the DSP, Deputy Senate President. I seek to amend my motion. Mr. President, I believe that Mr. President should have time. The President of the Senate should have enough time. Let us not stampede you. Let us not stampede you. We agree with your amendment that we should not throw out the whole of this list completely. Let us not stampede you, so that you can do your consultation. So I move that.
There is amendment second. Let me put the question and then we can. If
this name should stood down for 2 weeks, I so move.
Senator. Oh dear.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I'm Senator Clifford Odia, representing Edo Central. I stand to second the motion ably moved by Senator Peter Nwoboshi. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that we should send down this item for 2 weeks, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleague, the second order of the day is presentation and consideration of the Conference Committee report on the Nigerian Air Force Institute of Technology Establishment ETC Bill. Distinguished senators will recall that the Senate and the House passed different versions of the Nigerian Air Force Institute Technology ETC.
Order, please. Order, please.
Mr. President, and my distinguished colleagues.
Order, please.
In view. Order. Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues. Mr. President and my distinguished colleague, may I, in response to democratic principles, acknowledge the position of my distinguished colleagues on this matter, and I therefore move that all the remaining items on the order paper be stood down to another legislative day.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that the remaining items on the order paper be stood down.
Distinguished colleagues, distinguished colleagues, before I put the question and before I conform with the democratic principles, I want to make an appeal, particularly on reports on ethics privileges. We have a backlog of these reports and we need to clear this report, so we will have to look at it sometime this week. But I hope when we do bring it, the mood will be different. Those in favor of the motion that we do stand at these items to another legislator say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Distinguished Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, having concluded today's proceeding on the order paper, I hereby move that the Senate do stand adjourned to Wednesday, the 29th day of March, 2017 at 10 a.m. prompt. I so move.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that the Senate do adjourn till Wednesday tomorrow at 10 a.m. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, before I put the question, one announcement. Notification of meeting of Nigeria Globe Nigeria meeting. Dear Globe Nigeria members, this is to inform you there will be a general meeting scheduled to hold today, Tuesday the 28th March at the Senate meeting room 107, National Assembly completed by 2 p.m. prompt. Members are encouraged to attend, signed by the President of Globe Nigeria, Senator Dr. Bukar Abba Ibrahim. Those in favor that the Senate is hereby adjourned to Wednesday, the 29th of March, 10 a.m. prompt, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The Senate is accordingly adjourned to Wednesday, 29th of March, 2017.